Yes, we are doing. Click.
Hello, Kobus. You are Kobus, and I'm Andrea, and last night at 2 a.m. I woke with this flash of lightning and this smell of fire, and I sat up in bed and thought, oh my goodness, we have a thunderstorm and lightning and there's a fire somewhere. But then there wasn't, and I just hung on for about 20 minutes, and there was more lightning, and then there was thunder, and then there was rain, and then I relaxed a bit. And then I realized that actually I used to call you Mr. Thunder. Do you remember that? Well, I did, and I do believe that with that thunderstorm you are sort of around, and I need to talk to you, and if you can't remember who you are, then I must tell you that we were together for 30 years all told in this life until you left. And yeah, I just need to sometimes talk to you and feel your presence, and I know you're here, and I'm sorry if you've been gone and you can't really remember who you are, but whoa, we had some great times, very, very creative. So your creativity could shine, and so could mine. So together we were like two stars that met in the cosmos and became a comet. So, you are Kobus Stander, born some time ago, and the funny thing was that I got married when you turned 11, but I didn't know, and you didn't know, but we were going to meet 27 years later, when my boys were grown and through the army and into university, and I was teaching art, and I asked the class, does anybody there know of a good handyman? And within 2 or 3 days there you appeared across my lawn, this lovely big Afrikaner man with a tropical shirt on and shorts and strong legs, and I did admire your feet in shoes without socks. I think I just loved you the moment I saw you, but you know, we were married and you had your life with 2 young girls. Do you perhaps remember? I don't suppose you do, because I was just a client. And my husband Neil was violently jealous. You didn't know any of that, of course. He'd wake at 3 a.m. and have a cigarette and say, "You're having an affair with the butcher boy or the builder," or I know it. And of course it wasn't true. Anyway, I don't think he even knew that it was you that were doing the gate posts and the gates. But anyway, I was at a kind of point in my life when I thought, I want a beautiful house and I'm not going to be destroyed by this partnership. Also, I was painting and making money and meeting people that were sort of normal, and I hadn't realized how unnormal, dysfunctional my life had become, and with no kids to sort of balance it, I was on my own and adrift. And so we started this wonderful friendship. You'd appear in the morning and I'd say, "Would you like some tea or coffee?" You don't remember because you always said, "Lovely, thank you." One day you came to me and you asked, did I perchance find a penknife? And I said, "Is this yours?" And you were so thrilled to have it back. I thought to you, why are you so happy to find your penknife? You were so happy, and you said later you nearly grabbed me and gave me a hug, but you knew it wasn't right. I must have felt that sort of well up of love. Oh boy, you were gorgeous. You had perfect teeth, perfect skin. You always smelt slightly like a horse, sort of hay mixed with garlic, yeah, and lovely hair, and very strong hands, strong body, and very good, solid mind, very earth, very wise. And then Neil found a letter and he said, "Are you two lovers?" And I said, "Yes." And he ran into the garden screaming and raging, and I managed to quickly get his guns and put them up in the ceiling and hide them, and we just didn't sleep that whole night. You wouldn't remember that, but early in the morning, that was my birthday, he phoned you and he said he wanted to meet you, and you arranged somewhere near the golf course in Durbanville. And I thought that was very calm of you, because you didn't panic, whereas Neil was in a total panic. You said you'd build for me. I said, "Well, if you come and build for me, will you come and live with me?" By this time he said no, he's going to have a divorce. And I said, "Well, I don't want a big piece of land if I'm going to live on my own." So we started looking. And then we found a piece of land in Franschhoek. It was rural, it was up a dirt road, and I got this piece of land. So my mum says to me, "Okay, so now you spend all our money, what are you going to do?" I said, "I've got this lovely bit of land and water off the mountain. I'm going to go and live in my combi." You remember it differently. But do you remember what fun it was? So this is the Artemis book, which we made together. Me recording you. Artemis was transferred on the 16th of April into my name in 1993, and it was 3,2084 hectares in extent. We had electricity, but no running water, you might remember. We filled a watering can from a 44-gallon drum to fill up the toilet system. I wrote here, we're all brushing our teeth on the edge of the slab of the workshop. We're looking at each other and saying, this is like being on a yacht. Southeaster blowing, gusting into the workshop. Afternoon sun reaches right in, the 23rd of March. You can see there's still no windows on the front, so we couldn't leave. I mean, only one of us could leave at a time. We couldn't both go out. And this, I'm sure you will remember, this was your Thunder box, Mr. Thunder. It had shade cloth around it, and it's the end of the loo with a view. It had a beautiful view. And the toilet used to sit here on this blob of cement, which is still here in 2023. There's the septic tank. Here you are, sleeping. Do you remember this day, Kobus? The first meal on the moon deck, the 12th of December, 97. 2 bottles of wine drunk and some fun getting everything down afterwards. So this is right up on the top balcony of the tower. So we had a lot of fun, huh? Oh, we had a flood. I woke to a grey dawn at about 7:30 and the sound of rain. I looked out of the side window and saw these streams of yellow muddy water running through Jeff's forest behind us and down to the workshop and around and down. Help! I shot out of bed and opened the side front door. There it was, all along the length of the workshop and the drive. I woke Kobus, who was sleeping on the floor next to his daughters and the fire. He pulled on some gumboots, grabbed a spade and started up the hill to the dam. I was just following him, pulling on my second gumboot, when I looked to my left, and there, creeping along the floor, was this invasive, seeping, muddy puddle, inexorably making its way towards the living area. I can't remember, can you? Was it that first winter that you returned one evening with a very grumpy, very obnoxious little teenager with a little black hat pulled down over her head and monosyllabic. She said. She was running away and she's been expelled from school and she's stealing and her mother doesn't want her and she's come to live with us. I said, I'm not a mother anymore. And poor Kobus, he had the two Andreas and we hated each other. We hated each other. Not long ago, I said to her, we tried the nuclear family, and she said, no, it was more like nuclear war than nuclear family, and she was quite right. Yeah, you remember how you tried. Yeah, I'm sure you did. You loved both Andreas, and you desperately, didn't you, wanted to have them to love each other, but it wasn't going to happen. This is where we buried your ashes. Kobus, you are so ill. You're sitting with your first navel orange. After this, he was in hospital Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, with your kidneys failing. So here you cut down the big pines that used to hold up the wash line. This one landed smack on his Valencia orange amid a cloud of yellow pollen. Labyrinth walk in a kidney shape laid out in lime and walked for the first time by Andrea and Kobus, and you made this labyrinth because you knew that you actually had a hope of a future. It was a vision. I had the vision of this woman that rose up out of the earth, and she was beautiful. She was not beautiful in a beautiful way. She was strong. She was dark. She had light coming out of her. She had snakes entwined all over her arms, which she was holding out to the world. She had this wonderful embroidered skirt on that was in waves, quilted, with all the animals that you could imagine and the insects and the sounds of nature on her, and the moon was caught in her hair, and she was so strong, and she was so terrifying, and she was so beautiful. And I thought, who is this? And she almost commanded me to discover who she was. She belonged to this piece of land. She was Artemis. She was the goddess of nature and the moon and the wild animals. And it was almost like I'd been commanded to find you and bring her back to some kind of a rewilding, a new way of being in the 20th. It was the 20th century then. So there was this goddess festival, Kobus, and then I don't know where you went, but you really hurt me for the next 2 years. And betrayal is worse than death. And I felt in some ways that we had betrayed our marriages and that I deserved it, but I don't think I deserved it like you did it to me. Kobus, you don't remember what betrayal is. It is the most painful thing to bear, and you did it to 2 people and it was never done to you. So you wouldn't really know even now what betrayal is. You might say that it doesn't exist because it never existed for you. But it is a total breakdown of trust. And some people would say that trust is a dirty word, that you should never trust anybody. You should only trust yourself and know yourself. And in some ways that's true, but then you become very cynical if you can never trust another. And I trusted you implicitly. Perhaps you might understand more if you could understand the material world, where trust is a fragile glass, and once broken it can never be put together again. But love is like a mountain. You can bash and you can mine it and it'll never go away. And although I have suffered betrayal only once, I count myself lucky, because I did betray Neil in many ways, and in many ways when you betrayed me, I felt that in some ways I was wiping the slate clean on my soul, because what I'd done to others was being done unto me. I never found out. I think it's too small for a Cape fox. Never really knew who it belonged to, but obviously it didn't. Well, it might have survived, but without a tail. An aminata. It must have been a very wet winter. Aminatas only come up when it's really wet. Do you remember this, Kobus? Swallow, scratch, scratch, squink, 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 phew, scrabble, scrabble, scrabble. And then up comes a lizard and it goes, phew, it's been eating all the moths. Oh, and then it fell out. It was so fat. Walking down the drive, a snake. It was dead. So was a skink. I was the only one to drive that day. So horrible. It was me. These are the butcher birds. Look at that. They stabbed their victims onto branches. He was stabbed through the heart by a butcher bird, found while pruning the roses. What a way to die. And then, of course, in July 2019, Kobus, you died. So I finished this book, and these are messages from people that came to your wake. Yeah. So that's the end of this book. And the end of our life together on Artemis. You were an old man. Those 20 years of medication were wreaking havoc on your body. Your thumbs didn't have strength. You couldn't do up your buttons. You had to walk with a walking stick. Tiger Berg said, "What are you worried about? You've had a kidney for 21 years. Most people don't live that long." Helpful, huh? Dark days. I spread the tarot deck and I asked you to take a card. You drew death. Yeah. 3 days later, they did the op and you died under anesthetic. And my dear, lovely Kobus, it was the end. But it's been really nice to talk to my Mr. Thunder. Really nice. And it's been my reason for getting my strength back, for honouring what we achieved together. Yeah. Thank you for this talk. Thank you for the thunder last night.
Yes, we are doing.